former President Rodrigo Duterte's appeal for an interim release was rejected by the International Criminal Court, his trial in the ICC is expected to start soon. Meanwhile, there are speculations that other ICC warrants of arrest may follow suit. Good morning. I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno, and this is At the Forefront. Former President Rodrigo Duterte's trial at The Hague for his bloody drug war is being closely monitored by the public. Meanwhile, issues related to the flood control scandal continue to hound this administration. To give us his insights, we'll be speaking with former Senator Antonio Trillanes. Good morning, Senator Sonny.
Good morning, Atty. Karen.
Senator Sonny, just recently, Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla said that an arrest warrant from the ICC has already been issued against Senator Bato de la Rosa, but this has yet to be confirmed. From what I remember dati, you were one of the first to say na meron ng ICC warrant of arrest against President Rodrigo Duterte, but this was even before people had information on this. So, would you have any information as to whether there's really an ICC arrest warrant against Senator de la Rosa?
Sadly, these types of information are classified. So, and I'm also not in a position to confirm either way. But let's just give the benefit of the doubt to the Ombudsman. I'm pretty sure that his claims are well-founded.
During your time po, paano nyo nakuha yung information ng ICC arrest warrant against then or former President Rodrigo Duterte?
Let's just say that I have engagements with the ICC being one of the first to file the communication against Duterte. So that engagement grew or solidified over the past 8 years. So meron kaming ganong exchange ng information. But when it comes to issuances of warrants, very, very careful ang ICC kasi classified information yon. Makakakuha ka lang ng mga information from those who are privy to the issuances of the warrant.
So would you say na si Ombudsman Boying Remulla would have some type of communication with the ICC in order to get that information?
Probably not directly, but he would have gotten his source or that information from a reliable source based on his assessment.
So you believe that he's not bluffing?
Yes, I believe so. I believe so.
Do you still have communications with the ICC? Are you still in touch with them? Do you still have that thing, what you've called the solidified na across the years that you have had that exchange as someone first to file a communication against former President Duterte? Yes,
we continue to engage with them kasi interested party tayo rito at we want to see this through. Nasimula natin to, then tatapusin natin. Ngayon maraming mga name-mention dun sa iba't ibang mga documents regarding the complaint or regarding the case of Mr. Duterte, yung mga sinasabi lang co-perpetrators. But ultimately, interesado yung ICC doon lang sa mga most responsible. They're not really after even the mid-level operators. So, mananaro down yung mga mai-issuehan ng warrant. Eventually, probably, at most, mga 4 ang mai-issuehan.
Including former President Duterte na po yun.
Yes.
So, 3. If we have Senator Bato de la Rosa, yes, who do you think are the other 2?
Bongo and Albayalde. Yan.
At what point do you think magkakaroon ng, if any, warrant of arrest against them?
Mga next year na yon, yung dalawa. But si kay Bongo, tingnan natin, baka nga totoo yung sinasabi ni
Or yung kay Senator Bato, yung ngayong year na po, tapos yung dalawa would be Albayalde and Senator Bong Go.
Yes, oo. Mga next year na yan sila.
The Senate Finance Committee Chairman Sherwin Gatchalian said that De La Rosa did not submit any formal excuse for missing their sessions that tackled the budget of the Defense Department, and he only received a text message from the senator's staff requesting him to cover the agencies assigned to De La Rosa. You were also a senator before. How should the Senate address the continuing absence of Senator Bato?
May dalawang kasi dyan dalawang types of presidents, no. Yung una, yung kagaya nun sa amin ni Senator Laila, kami naka-detain kami, we're not physically present sa session hall, but we continue to file resolutions, no. Nag-function yung opisina namin at we submitted ourselves to the justice system natin at pero there is a presumption of innocence, di ba? So, doon. Pero in the case of then Senator Ping Lacson, or when back in 2008, I think, si Senator Lacson was being served a warrant also, no, for double murder, and he felt he was unjustly accused, kaya hindi niya sinubmit yung sarili niya sa justice system.
This was during the time of then President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo.
Yes, yes. So, after, I think, 9 months, nag-decide yung Senate na i-padlock yung office niya for as long as hindi siya nagpapakita. So, yung mga staff niya eventually were absorbed by the Senate Secretariat. Palagay ko, kung merong paggagayahan ng treatment kay Senator Bato de la Rosa, it's this precedence of Senator Lacson.
And under that precedent, kailangan po bang kaltasan yung sweldo ni Senator Bato de la Rosa kung i-treat siya as absent without the same reason as you and Senator Laila had, that you were incarcerated at that time?
Hindi naman. Kasi ang senador, 24/7 yung duty mo eh. At accountable ka dun sa mga botante mo. So, he was given that mandate for as long as hindi siya nabibigyan ng sanction ng Senado mismo, hindi dapat ginagalaw yung benefits niya. 'Di ba? Yung personal benefits niya. But yung MOOE ng opisina and other funds ng office, yon pwedeng masubject yan ng ibang auditing protocols. Kaya pwedeng tanggalin yon. Yun.
Would Senator Bato de la Rosa be vulnerable to an ethics complaint for not going to the sessions or being absent?
Generally, masasabi natin na subject yan sa yung pananaw ng iba't ibang senador, di ba? Kasi sasabihin na, this is political, di ba? If you feel unjustly persecuted, you can state your case sa general public in other means. Pero ito kasi, iba yung naghahabol, no? ICC ito. Kaya, masasubject ito sa ibang pananaw. So, baka sabihin ng mga senador, pinanghihimasukan ng external forces yung jurisdiction ng isang senador. Kaya, it's a tricky situation. But for me, as an outsider, maliwanag yun. Binigyan siya ng mandato bilang senador. He should serve. Kung may kaso man siyang kinakaharap, kailangan harapin niya. Ngayon, kung hindi niya harapin yun, kailangan mapanagot siya. So, that's me as an outsider. But for the senators there, maraming dynamics involved, like their personal relationship with Bato, their political alliances. So these things would come into play.
We spoke with Kitty Duterte's lawyer, Attorney Paulo Panelo. He said that the ICC rejection of former President Duterte's application for interim release does not affect the petition for habeas corpus that they filed with the Supreme Court. Do you agree with this?
Yes, I agree. But at the end of the day, regardless of the decision of the Supreme Court, hindi rin makaka-apekto yon doon sa pag-release or hindi pag-release ni Duterte. Doon sa trial niya, hindi rin makaka-apekto yung decision ng Supreme Court. So it goes both ways.
Kasi may sinite si Attorney Panelo doon sa pleading nila sa urgent motion that they recently filed with the Supreme Court. A case recently decided in the United States under President Trump, where part of President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigrants, they deported an El Salvador national, na U.S. resident, to El Salvador, where that man was detained in a maximum security prison. And yet, the family that filed the habeas corpus case won in the District Court of Maryland, and this was later affirmed by the U.S. Supreme Court, na inutusan yung gobyerno nila dun sa Secretary of the Homeland Department to bring back this U.S. resident that was already detained in El Salvador. So, ang argument dito nila Attorney Paulo Panelo is that the Philippine government can use all of its resources in the same way that they use all of their resources to bring former President Duterte to The Hague and bring him back home. Or also in the same way that they brought back home si former Congressman Arnie Teves.
There is a stark difference between the two cases na sinite niya. Doon sa case kasi ng US is a superpower. So kaya nilang i-compel yung El Salvador, who in the first place had this MOA or some modus vivendi with the US government to provide custody dun sa mga ide-deport nila. So meron silang ganong arrangement. But that is not present here. Una-una, Pilipinas will not have any compelling power. The Philippines cannot twist the arm of the ICC to cough up Mr. Duterte. Hindi yan mangyayari. Kaya yun yung parang that should be obvious for anybody, pero the mere fact that they're citing it, minsan i-question mo kung we're living in the same planet, di ba? Bakit nila naiisip na pwede mangyari yun?
Well, I suppose in this case, from a legal standpoint, the US has, if they have jurisprudence and we have similar laws on habeas corpus and Bill of Rights, then merong persuasive effect ang US jurisprudence sa Supreme Court natin sa Pilipinas. But apart from the legal, the practical side of it, you think malabo?
Malabo. But even in the legal side of it. Kasi yung El Salvador and the US government had an agreement dun sa pag-handle nung mga dinedeport nila. So therefore, they can send it, they can also bring them back. Dito sa case natin, yung Pilipinas, hindi na tayo member ng ICC. So we don't have such an agreement. But even if we are still a member of the ICC, yung ICC, the only way na mawawala, marirelease siya, mapapalaya siya, is if kung ma-acquit siya dun sa trial. Ganun lang po
Which
yun.
can take several years.
Yes.
A report came out last September that retired police Colonel Royina Garma will become an ICC witness in the Duterte trial. Then Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla confirmed that Garma has met with ICC representatives in Malaysia and also here in Manila. Do you think that she will fully cooperate with the probe or the trial, considering that former President Duterte was also her boss before? But before you answer this question, we'll have to take a short break. At the Forefront, we'll be right back. Welcome back at the Forefront, and we continue our conversation with former Senator Antonio Trillanes. Senator Sonny, reports came out last September that retired Police Colonel Royina Garma will become an ICC witness in the Duterte trial. And former Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla also confirmed that Garma has met with ICC representatives in Malaysia and also here in Manila. Do you think that Garma will cooperate with the probe and eventual trial, considering that former President Duterte was her boss before?
Yes, I can state definitively that Royina Garma will be a witness against Duterte.
Wow, very confident. Nakakausap niyo po ba si Royina Garma?
When she was here, she was already interviewed by the ICC investigators, and also now that she has left the country, they continue to engage with her.
Well, even in the Senate inquiry, after former President Duterte was arrested last March, the representatives of the DOJ, including then Secretary Boying Remulla, said that we no longer recognize the jurisdiction of the ICC in the Philippines, but the arrest of former President Duterte was undertaken in recognition of our obligations, international obligations, also citing our relationship with Interpol. So kung patuloy yung mga ganito, yung pag-prep sa witnesses or yung pag-receive natin sa ICC representatives, in this case to have discussions with Garma as a witness, do you think that we're going against our position that we're no longer a member country? Or do you also think to a certain extent that this ICC probe is also being used as a political tool? Kasi napansin din naman natin na nagsimula rin maging cooperative yung administration under President Bongbong Marcos after the fallout between PBBM and VP Sara.
Dapat in-expect na nila Duterte yan, di ba? Na kung aawayin niya, siyempre si President Marcos, siyempre, bakit pa ngayon pipigilan ng administration yung investigation ng ICC? So he should have seen that. Hindi man pwedeng, siya lang pwedeng mga away tapos walang consequence yun. But that aside, even if hindi na tayo member at wala na silang jurisdiction, but hindi naman sila persona non grata dito sa Pilipinas. They can come in here and we don't have any reason or motivation to stop them from pursuing that investigation. Ganun lang naman po yun.
You recently filed Plunder and several other criminal complaints before the Ombudsman against former President Rodrigo Duterte and Senator Bong Go. And this is in relation with infrastructure projects that were awarded to firms owned by Senator Bongo's family.
Yeah.
Is there an update on the status of those complaints?
I filed it last month, so I'm expecting that the necessary spade work or investigative work are being done already at the Office of the Ombudsman. So we will see within the next few weeks if this would result to a case to be filed sa Sandigan. But I'm very much confident about the case that I filed. Open and shut case ito, Atty. Karen. Maliwanag, 200 contracts in-award ni Duterte and ni Bongo doon sa tatay at kapatid ni Bongo when they were in power.
But when you say awarded by them, do you mean through the DPWH?
They have the influence. Imagine mo as president, di ba? As president, tapos siya yung sidekick, siya yung special assistant to the president. And alam mo, talagang siya yung ultimate alter ego ng presidente. And we know that, no? May, kumbaga, ano ba tawag niyan? Judicial notice. Yeah, no? Kumbaga, alam na nila yan. And paano ngayon magkakaroon ng 200 contracts ito? Ano ba ito by coincidence? And specified ito dun sa Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, dun sa Anti-Plunder Law, all the elements were present. Hindi mo pwedeng ibigay. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-award ng kontrata. Well, absolute yan. Whether sabihin mong estranged na kayo or what, hanggang 4th degree of consanguinity and affinity, hindi pwede. So, dapat, alam nila ito, basic ito, si Bongo, sinabi niya doon sa mga tatay niya at kapatid niya, stay away from the, let's say, noong una, Davao, then eventually, nung presidente na si Digong, doon na lang kayo sa private sector mangontrata. Hindi pwede doon.
So your basis is the fact that you have a president and this is special assistant to the president na nag-award ng contracts under their administration, even if they did not do it directly, it's still through the DPWH basically because they're infrastructure projects. Or do you have any other evidence? Kasi hindi pa lumalabas naman ang pangalan ni Senator Bongo sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee or ICI so far.
Eh, yun na nga eh. Nagtataka ako. No? I'm questioning the moral toughness ng ICI. Bakit hindi nila pinapatawag tong si Bongo? Ito na yung hinahanap nyo. Di ba sinasabi nila yung possible conflict na itong nasa likod daw na itong mga contractor na ito ay itong mga politiko na ito. Eh ito, yun mismong tatay at kapatid. Hindi mo na, it can't get any clearer than that. So yan yon. Ngayon yung sinasabing, nakalagay kasi doon sa batas, pag nasa covered nung authority, nung opisina mo, and as president, covered mo lahat eh. Di ba? Covered mo lahat. Hindi pwede yon. Yun ang nakalagay. The mere fact na magkaroon kayo ng kontrata, that is in prima facie evidence of plunder or graft against you.
But are you singling out Senator Bongo because of his ties with the former president? Kasi if we go by that argument, maraming sasabit na congressmen where they have been tied to construction firms that are owned by themselves or by their family through, yung iba, mga dummies lang nila. And yun yung maraming nakukuha within their districts.
Yes, dapat sila lahat. Pero ito, look, Atty. Karen, yung iba nga, they make an extra effort of putting in dummies kahit sila yung nasa likod. Kasi alam nilang hindi pwedeng yung immediate family mo ang nakalagay. Pero in this case, they had the audacity to do that. I think it's either it was an oversight or impunity, but whatever is the case, huling-huli sila dito. 200 contracts, Atty. Karen, yung ibinigay nila eh. 7 billion pesos to. Wala nang lusot dyan.
And before that, you also filed cases against Congressman Paulo Pulong Duterte and Mans Carpio, who's the husband of Vice President Sara, for illegal drug smuggling naman.
Yes.
Ano pong status ng cases na yon?
Nasa fact-finding phase. Hopefully, gumalaw na yan at masimula na yung preliminary investigation. Kasi maliwanag din itong body of evidence dito. Kasi the body of evidence used by the prosecutors were enough to convict Mr. Mark Taguba. Itong si Mark Taguba, ang witness na nagsasabing mastermind si Pulong tsaka si Mans Carpio. So there you go. Yun yan.
You've always been viewed as a staunch opposer of the Dutertes.
Yeah.
How has the fallout between the Marcoses and the Dutertes affected your political standing? Would you oppose calls for President BBM's resignation amid this flood control controversy, if only to prevent Vice President Sara from succeeding as president?
Will I join the calls?
Or will you oppose calls
Will I
for...
oppose? Ang position ko po dyan, Atty. Karen, is this. Yung sa mga, for those who feel strongly about the involvement, let's say, of President Marcos dito sa kaguluhang ito, kung meron kayo ebidensya, then by all means file a case, whether it's an impeachment case o kung ano man. Kasi doon yung proseso as laid out by our Constitution. When I was still in the Senate, at may mga allegations kami against former President Duterte, finala namin ang impeachment. Nung na-railroad yun, finala namin sa ICC. Hindi kami nanawagan na mag-resign siya. Di ba? That's, ano ba yun?
So you wanted constitutional means?
Oo. Kumaga, pero hindi ka lang madadala dun sa mga kung sino man nagsabi nito sa social media, yun na kagad. Hindi, dapat kailangan tindigan yan. It should withstand scrutiny, yung mga allegations mo. Yung final namin sa ICC, that's an international body. And the allegations or the evidence that we submitted withstood scrutiny by that international body. Kaya nga, inisyuhan ng warrant si Duterte. They should do the same.
Back in 2003, you and the rest of the Magdalo group protested the alleged corruption under the Arroyo administration, and you became known for being involved in the Okud mutiny. So, ikaw ba, are you open to extra constitutional means in that same way that you made a stand and had that mutiny in Oakwood that time, kung sakaling lumaki tong issue ng corruption? And is it true na merong mga retired generals that also started discussing extra constitutional means to make for this President Bongbong Marcos step down?
Nung ginawa ko po yan, the context was very different. Kasi we were in a faux democracy. Kasi narinig naman natin, nandaya si GMA, di ba, doon sa Elo Garci. Tapos corruption was rampant both within the government and within the AFP. Ibang-iba yung sitwasyon, and it was resulting in the loss of lives of soldiers and policemen. So yun. As a junior officer, iba yung nakikita kong mundo noon. So mapusok tayo noon. So we did that. And we paid our dues, di ba? And as part of the political maturity, and nakita natin how our country has progressed since then. No? So, nakita ko ngayon na meron kayong mga avenues. You don't need to do what I did back then kasi meron ng mga avenues in place para mailabas yung mga hinaing ninyo.
So you don't believe this time na may faux democracy tayo? We have real democracy?
Yes.
And to answer my question, meron po bang mga retired generals, totoo ba yung usap-usapan na meron talaga nagko-call for either a military junta or destabilization, or for the President Bongbong Marcos, to step down among the military?
Yes, I can confirm that. Sa mga retirees, maraming nananawagan. It's so open. Then they attempted to recruit active members of the AFP. And it's just fortunate for us that the AFP officer corps was steadfast in protecting and defending the Constitution and their Commander-in-Chief. So, maganda yon kasi mag-hold yung ating democratic institutions. So, if you have grievances, idaan nyo sa proseso, yun na, it's laid out in the Constitution.
Okay, and last question, since we're out of time, would you want PBBM to end his term in 2028?
Most definitely. And hindi lang yon. Hindi lang sa matapos ni President Marcos yung term niya, kundi dapat hindi makabalik sa pwesto ang mga Dutertes, not now and not in 2028. Yon.
Thank you so much, former Senator Sonny Trillanes.
Thank you, Tony Caro.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte is on trial at the International Criminal Court for his bloody campaign against illegal drugs. His legal team is expecting later this week a medical report on his fitness to stand trial before the ICC. Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa seems to be the next target of the ICC, but he is nowhere to be found. Who will be next? Meanwhile, how soon can we see a trial start for those implicated in the flood control scandal? Be informed, be insightful of the news. I'm Attorney Karen Jimeno. Always stay at the forefront.